thank you very much, John Hamilton, for holding the space.
It's a pleasure.
Hello, this is Lisa Young for Holding the Space, and we're here with Jim Bett of Fife Alcohol Support Service. How are you, Jim?
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, I'm fine. Nice to speak to you.
You too. Now, I understand you've been the service manager of FASS for a number of years.
Yeah, I've been service manager since 2006, so that makes it, 13 years? But I've been with the organisation in total 25 years now.
Wow.
I'm in my 25th year.
Wow. So the role of service manager must keep you quite busy.
Yeah, I would say that.
Considering all the success you've had in the last year.
Yeah, I'm responsible for the overview of the services in FASS for the various projects that we run, and we've got 4 very large ones, and one which is just getting off the ground at the moment. And I don't run them individually. We have people who do that, but I have to take the overview of what's happening, ensure it's all happening as it's supposed to, and to make sure that the organisation as a whole is running efficiently. So that's my role.
So I understand that you've also been a counsellor and counselling services coordinator as well within the organisation.
Yeah, I've had a number of roles since I first came here. I first came here as a volunteer. I then moved on into becoming a counselling service coordinator, where I was responsible for running the alcohol counselling service in FASS. I've also worked as a volunteer development worker and done some IT management in the organisation as well.
So a bit of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, you could also argue that rich experience has equipped me to do the role I'm in right now.
So in terms of, you mentioned that you started off as a volunteer. Can I ask what attracted you to offering to volunteer for FASS initially?
Accident.
Accident?
It's pure accident. I had been getting some qualifications in administration, and I was looking for some work experience. I came to FASS on a recommendation. I have had a very vague understanding about what it did. I certainly was aware that it did something to help people with drinking problems. That was really about all I knew. And I also had a fairly vague understanding of what charities did. So I was purely focused on some administration experience when I first turned up. But my eyes were opened, and they were literally opened on the first day I walked into the organisation. I was really quite taken aback by seeing people with such care and devotion helping people with drinking problems. People with drinking problems, you got a set idea of what's going on. There's moral implications and things like that. But to see the other side of it, to see people actually just helping because people needed help, was eye-opening for me, and it just clicked something inside me. Something just fitted. I just knew this is where I wanted to be, and I've never wanted to leave. Yeah.
So if I said that you'd on that first evening or that first day you were there, you witnessed compassion in action, if you like.
I witnessed compassion from top to bottom of the organisation, is the best way of putting it. I saw the administration and management staff working at a broader level, but I also met individual volunteer counsellors who were doing the work at the coalface, so to speak. And from top to bottom, there was a level of compassion, a level of concern for others in the community, which actually just blew me away.
And in terms of, you mentioned that this is your 25th year, and that does seem to be a happy pattern within FASS, that people come and join the organisation and stay for a great period of time.
Yeah.
Which is quite unusual in today's society, perhaps.
one of the it's partly an organisational strategy. It's great that people want to stay with us. We're doing something right when that happens, but it is in part an organisational strategy. We work in a very specific area, a very select area, where we need special skills. We need people who are trained and skilled and experienced in therapeutic work, whether that be for the alcohol counselling we've talked about so far, or for our other drug projects and so on. Such people just aren't there in the normal in the community as a whole. So we have to find people who are the right fit for the organisation, and then we try to develop them. We try to give them all the opportunities possible so that they become the very best skilled volunteers and staff that we could possibly find. So it's a kind of contract in a sense, that volunteers will come to us. They will come with a compassion, a caring heart, a willingness to learn, a willingness to devote their time to other people in the community. And the other side of the contract is we're going to try and support and develop and give them the opportunities they need to grow themselves.
So if I said that in terms of staff members, you are offering the same experience to staff members as you are almost the clients?
Yeah.
In terms of that respectful exchange and that relationship, that would be a fair comment?
Yeah, I think compassion, good qualities, good values, like compassion, like empathy, like being able to listen to someone and really understand what they're trying to say. These things, you don't really switch them on and off. You can't say, well, that person will have that person will not get that. You've got to have that embedded in the organisation. So we're a very listening organisation in a sense. That as you would know if you were in the organisation for any length of time and so on, you would see the way we work, the way we interact inside the organisation. It's not that dissimilar from the way a counsellor will work with an individual client.
Absolutely. Staff are very lucky. In terms of volunteering at FASS, you mentioned at the AGM that a large majority of the 80 people who are involved with the organisation are volunteers. What's your view of volunteering within an organisation?
It's at the core of what we do. I've called it our lifeblood in the past, but it's very much the core. FASS began in the late 1970s as what was called a local council on alcohol. And we were set up to develop a volunteer alcohol counselling service. That was our first service. It was a pool of people who, like I said earlier, were willing to give their time. In return, they were trained to become alcohol counsellors. They were supported as counsellors, and they delivered a volunteer alcohol counselling service in the community. That was our first service in the late 70s. It's still there, 41 years later, and it's been joined by other services, but the other services still follow that essential model that we develop volunteers where it's appropriate for the service. We develop volunteers and help, and in return they help us deliver the services that we need in the community.
I'm wondering how it felt for you after being with the organisation for such a large part of your career, how it felt sitting in the Parliament that day and they're talking about the organisation that you've worked so hard for in the chamber. Just wondering how that felt for you.
That was, for me personally, it was a very moving experience. I was really, really quite humbled by it all. You've got to understand that FASS is not unique, but we are an organisation, a charity that deals with one of the areas of care, if you like, that's got a lot of stigma attached to it. And it's also got a lot of need for confidentiality attached to it. So we're not an organisation that can really shout out what we do, shout out that we are the best and all this sort of stuff, shout out that here's client A, B and C have done so well and all that kind of thing. We just can't do that. We're not allowed to. We've got to reserve our thoughts in many ways. We've got to respect the confidentiality of the people who come to us. So we don't shout out what we're about an awful lot. We promote ourselves to a certain extent, but we can't really tell people what we're doing. We have to have a certain level of quiet, I suppose. So when our peers or our government members and so on are willing to take a broad view of us, to look at the work we've done across the board for all those years and highlight that in Parliament and highlight the quality of it and the impact it's had on their constituents and so on. That was very special. And yeah, it's where you realise just how well an organisation like this is appreciated
at a national level.
And it's it's at a government level, I suppose.
What are your hopes for FASS in the future?
I obviously hope it thrives. It's got some fantastic people working here, some fantastic people volunteering here. I like to think that it will continue to evolve, that it will probably be a rather different organisation in some respects in 10 or 15 or 20 years time compared to now, and that's good because the nature of our work changes as we learn new things and so on. I'll not be around in that time. I'm getting towards the end of my life of work, I
Working
suppose.
life.
Yes. But whoever is running the place, I'm sure the trustees of the charity will ensure that the person running the place is given all the support they need to do it right and do it well. And I've got no qualms or worries about FASS of the future. It will be a very vibrant and it'll be a very vibrant organisation that is able to maintain its traditions in some ways, its good traditions, but also learn as it goes along.
Thank you very much, Jim Bett, for holding the space.
Thank you.